After 18 years of marriage, my wife calmly told me she was going on a date with her coworker. I warned her that stepping out that door would change everything, but she didn't listen. And what happened next? My name is Daniel Reyes. And after 18 years of marriage, I thought I knew my wife Melissa better than anyone. We grew from broke newlyweds eating noodles on the kitchen floor to two adults living a quiet, comfortable life. Stable, predictable, maybe too predictable. I always thought predictability meant security. Turns out, for her, it meant boredom. The evening everything changed started like any other. Melissa getting ready in front of the hallway mirror, fixing her hair, applying a shade of lipstick she only wore on special occasions. I watched her from the couch, curious but unsuspecting. She looked nervous, excited, distracted. Then she turned to me and said the sentence that detonated our marriage in a single breath. "I'm going on a date tonight. With someone from work." The world froze. At first, I actually laughed. A small, confused laugh that died almost instantly when I saw her face calm, steady, unapologetic. This wasn't a joke. She had rehearsed this. "What do you mean a date?" I asked, voice cracking in disbelief. "It's not what you think," she replied softly. "I just need to feel something again." Her words hit like a blade sliding clean between my ribs. I felt my throat tighten. "Melissa, if you walk out that door, everything changes. You know that, right?" She didn't flinch. She just sighed, not guilty, not embarrassed, just distant, tired, like she had already convinced herself she was the victim. "Daniel," she said, "you've been distant for years. You bury yourself in work. You barely look at me anymore. I'm lonely. I need a night to think." A night to think? That was the flimsy justification she hid behind. After almost 2 decades together? Before I could respond, her phone buzzed on the table. Ethan, her coworker, the one she mentioned casually for months, the one she claimed was just good at his job, the one she smiled at differently. She looked at the screen a second too long before grabbing her purse. "Melissa," I warned again, voice steady but full of steel. "I'm telling you, if you walk through that door, you're choosing a path there's no coming back from." She hesitated. I saw a flicker of conflict in her eyes. A tiny part of her still tethered to us, to the life we built, to the love we once had. But then she exhaled, almost like she had made peace with her betrayal. "I just need clarity," she whispered, and she left. The soft click of the door closing behind her was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. It echoed through the house, through my chest, through 18 years of shared memories. But here's the part she never expected. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't clueless. I wasn't blind. For months, I'd sensed her drifting, the sudden extra makeup, the late-night work calls, the emotional distance disguised as stress. She thought she was subtle. She thought I didn't notice. She thought I was too busy, too tired, too distracted. But I noticed everything. So instead of breaking down that night, I did what I had been preparing for. I opened my laptop and pulled out the folder of evidence I had been quietly collecting. The late-night messages she deleted, the overtime shifts that didn't match her schedule, the unexplained emotional emptiness that kept growing between us. 3 weeks earlier, I'd even hired a private investigator not to trap her, but to confirm what my gut already knew. She had one foot out the door long before tonight, when Melissa finally returned home at 1:17 a.m. I was waiting. Her lipstick was gone. Her hair was messy. Her smile, the fake one she probably practiced for Ethan, had collapsed. She froze when she saw me awake. "Daniel, can we talk?" she whispered, guilt dripping from every word. I closed the folder slowly. "We will, but you should know. I warned you. Everything after tonight is going to be different." Her face went pale. She realized, for the first time, that I wasn't bluffing, but she still had no idea just how much had already changed or how deeply her date would shatter the future she thought she still controlled. And trust me, she definitely didn't see the next part coming. Morning light crept through the blinds, harsh and unforgiving, the perfect reflection of the reality Melissa woke up to. She sat across from me at the dining table, shoulders slumped, eyes swollen from a night of crying. She wasn't the confident woman who walked out on me 12 hours earlier. She wasn't the wife who thought she had options, leverage, or control. She looked like someone who finally understood the weight of her choices. Daniel, she whispered, barely audible. I made a mistake. She squeezed her eyes shut as tears spilled down her cheeks. I thought Ethan cared. I thought he saw me, but he just wanted something casual. He literally called me a fun distraction, like I was nothing. Her voice cracked, and she buried her face in her hands. I didn't offer comfort. I didn't offer anger either. I simply slid a folder across the table. She stared at it, confused. What's this? Reality, I said. She opened the folder slowly. Inside were the PI's photos, the screenshots, the timeline, every detail that mapped out the truth she had been hiding, or maybe hiding from herself. Her hands trembled violently. You were spying on me? No, I answered calmly. I was preparing for the day you finally admitted what you couldn't bring yourself to say. She flipped through the pages, each one hitting her like a hammer. The late-night parking lot where she met Ethan for vent sessions, the 2-hour coffees that weren't work-related, the messages she deleted, the emotional intimacy that crossed lines long before anything physical ever happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she cried. I was overwhelmed, lonely. You've been distant for so long, and instead of talking to me, I said, you walked into the arms of someone who treated you like a temporary escape. She closed the folder slowly, as if afraid of what it represented. But Daniel, she said, voice cracking, I want to fix us. We have a life, a home, years of memories. No, I said gently. I built those things. I carried us through every hard year. And when you felt bored or empty, you didn't turn to me. You ran away. Her eyes filled with panic. Don't throw 18 years away. Please, Melissa, I whispered. You threw them away the night you walked out that door. Her begging went on for days. Apologies poured out of her like she was trying to wash away her guilt. Promises, tears, therapy suggestions, desperate attempts to reverse time. But here's what she didn't understand. I wasn't angry anymore. And when a man stops being angry, he's already gone. I slept in the guest room. I stopped asking how she was. I stopped waiting for her explanations to make sense, and that terrified her more than any shouting ever could. She expected consequences. She expected a fight. She expected explosive arguments. What she didn't expect was silence, and the biggest twist she never saw coming. I had already secured freedom long before she betrayed me. Months earlier, I had been offered a position at an innovative firm in another state, a life-changing opportunity. I turned it down because I didn't want to uproot our marriage, but now, I opened the old email and typed one sentence. If the position is still available, I accept. They responded within the hour. When I told Melissa, she broke completely. You're leaving? She gasped. Daniel, please. I'll go to therapy. I'll block Ethan. I'll quit my job. I'll do anything. Just don't leave. Don't give up on us. The sad truth. I believed her, but her change of heart came too late. Sometimes the greatest betrayal isn't the affair. It's the realization that the person who promised to love you didn't choose you when it mattered. On the day I packed, she stood in the doorway, the same doorway she walked out of for her date, except now, she wasn't confident. She was shattered. Daniel, she whispered, voice trembling, I thought you'd fight for us. I looked at her one last time and replied, I did. For years. You were just too busy looking elsewhere to notice. Her knees gave out as I closed the door behind me, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free.